Sunday morning to say welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Red Deer, and our celebration of life and love. Those of you in this room, love. Those of you who are watching online, love. We are all love, ready to express itself. We are all spirit, ready to see a greater idea of ourselves and to live that greater idea. So thank you for joining me in that. Let's begin with reading our opening affirmation together. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I resolve to live this day in peace, in harmony, and in love with all things. I love myself and my world. I find something of joy in every moment. I affirm that life is good, and so am I, and so it is. And we have a few announcements. Bingo is back, and we have a bingo scheduled for Wednesday, April 13, and volunteers are needed. And if you can volunteer, you can call Juliet at 403-358-0098, or you can email the center, or you can email me, contact, or Reverend Teresa or myself, if you can't reach Juliet, and we'll make sure that she has your name. Especially in these days of COVID and how empty our seats have been over the last couple of years, we really need the proceeds we get from the bingo. So thank you for helping. And again on bingo, anybody a super organizer and have time on their hands they don't know what to do with? Juliet has been our bingo supervisor for a long time, but she's saying she can't keep doing it. So we need a volunteer to run the bingos. So if you feel called to do that, let us know. Thank you. And a few weeks ago, we announced that Lou Clark and Gord Hemmelgarn are going to do a short course on the Little Book of Abundance. And if anybody feels they can use a little gingering up in the abundance department, talk to Lou. Lou, will you stand up? That's Lou. And it's going to start on Wednesday evening, April 20, 7 p.m. And she had a sign-up sheet out there, and it's disappeared. So talk to her after the service. You might find her in the children's room, or she might be out here again by then, or coffeeing. All right, now let's go. We've got children with us today. Do you feel like coming up front? We've got a really important message for our children today. And your word for today is honesty. Can somebody tell me what makes that important? Can you, Ava? Do you know why honesty is important?
I'm Madonna.
Pardon?
I'm Madonna.
Yeah, okay. Do you know why honesty is important?
I'm Wilfred.
Anyway, what we have here says, if you lie, or if you cheat, or if you steal, people around you can't trust you. If you make up stories to cover a mistake, it's hard to fix it. But if you say, I made a mistake, and I'm sorry, can you tell me how I can fix it? Then you're being honest, and people can trust you the next time something happens. And they know if you're honest, when you do make a mistake, they know they can trust you when you say, no, it wasn't me that did that. Right? Doesn't that feel good? When you're just honest and let yourself stand up proud and know that you're doing the right thing. And the other thing, if you lie or if you cheat, you feel pretty bad about yourself. It makes you feel like you're not good enough, right? And how would we like to feel? Like we're good enough. We stand up proud. All right, and our affirmation is, I always do what I know is right. And will everybody repeat that with me? I always do what I know is right. Thank you. And with that, I have the pleasure of inviting my dear friend and someone who I've been doing ministry with since 2001. And before that, we were studying together, a very dear lady who has the most interesting stories when she does a talk. So Reverend Teresa Phillips, and our theme for April is Living Everyday Wonder, Creativity. And her title for today is Dancing with the Divine. So Maestro, we need some music if we're going to dance, right? Help me welcome Reverend Teresa. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Judy. Well, now I have to figure out some stories. Actually, I probably have some in here. First of all, I want to read out of our Science of Mind 365, and I have to make sure that I'm not there. Is that better? Okay. So for today, it says, "For my yoke is easy and my burden is light," Matthew 11:30. Now this is written by Dr. Holmes, and Dr. Ernest Holmes is who we study for this philosophy teaching. And April is renewal is what they're talking about. So he says, if we make every day a day of praise and thanksgiving, a day in which we recognize the divine bounty and the eternal goodness, and if we live today as though God were the only presence and the only power there is, we would not have to worry about tomorrow. Now that sounds pretty good. Then he says, we are all human and we have all made mistakes. That really touches me because I've discovered a new musician I really like, and my husband likes him as well, and we watch the videos. He is a British fellow. He's called the Rag and Bone Man, and he plays all kinds of genres of music and sings. But if you watch television, you may see ads. There's 2 or 3 of them, and the song is, "We're only human after all. We're only human after all. Don't put the blame on me." And it's pretty well what Dr. Holmes is saying. We are all human. And all on our walk in life, there's things we wish we hadn't done, things that we might still do that we wish we didn't do. But there's wondrous things that we have done that have changed our life and maybe led others on a different experience where they changed their life. So we are all human and we have all made mistakes. The starting point for creating a better future for ourselves is to deliberately free our minds from the mistakes of yesterday. So get rid of them, throw them out, imagine whatever you can to get rid of them, see them floating down like tossing a leaf in the water, and away it goes, it's forever gone. And so it is wise to occasionally review the past and try to find out just what we've been thinking and doing to create any burdens that are in our mind now. So what is it we keep playing over and over again in our mind? The I should have's, or if I'd only, or I shouldn't have. We don't need to be burdened anymore. We just need to act and move forward. We cannot go back over the past and relive it. Well, I'd like to go back over the past and have my black hair and all the other good stuff, but if anyone knows how you can do that, let me know, because I want to try it. So we cannot make adjustments in the past. We have to make them in the present. So that means I can always start anew with each and every step I take. It's not going to do us any good to sit around and cry over the past and bemoan our fate, because in the very day in which we are living, we are creating our tomorrows, which will become monotonous repetition of our yesterdays unless we change. So the original title that they suggested was Say Yes to the Yes. And to me, that had no pizzazz. I want pizzazz. If I'm going to get up here and talk, I want there to be a feeling and a connection with a higher power for everyone who wants to go on that journey. And each of us are going to have our own little pathway to the higher power, to the God essence. And that is gorgeous and beautiful and wonderful that we can each connect in our own way. Now, I spoke a little bit about the Rag and Bone Man. There is a song that he sings as well, and it's As You Are. And it is a song of seeing all people as equal. It's a song of I will love you regardless because I know that you are perfect in your own way. And it's just a song, I think probably most people haven't even heard it, but it's one of the songs that truly touch me that I can listen to over and over and over. Because for me, music is a very spiritual experience. It's not just to get up, perform, and I did a song. It is I am embracing, I am singing, I am feeling those words, I am feeling the vibration of the music from the top of my head down to the bottom of my feet, from the bottom of my feet back up to the top. And if you carefully pay attention to some musicians when they sing, and you really look at how they're singing and how they're presenting themselves, they are connected with something greater than they are. They're connected with the creative power of the universal mind. Because when they are like that, the way they sing is incredible. It'll be one of the times that they will really remember and the fans will remember because they are one with the creation. So do we live our life with little expression? Because that's how we're supposed to be? Or do we allow the real selves? Do you allow the real you? Do I allow the real me? The God essence of who each of us are, which is divine mind. Do I allow that to express? I don't know if people remember, but there was a time when we would play music before the service, and I would actually dance. And I would dance, and I'm not incredibly mobile like I once was. But when I would dance, it was like a meditation connecting with a higher power. So the music wasn't music to me. It was a connection to the divine. So we each have our own way of connecting. So and I would think, oh, people are going to think I'm crazy. And I thought, well, it's a dancing meditation. It's a connection with the higher power. And what are we here for? To learn, experience, grow, create, and express. So each of you are here, and you have your own ways of growing and expressing. I heard a story, a true thing happened April 1st, and it was in Edmonton, and there's a car dealership. The guy owned a car dealership, and he decided that he would offer free gas till 11. I think it was 9 to 11. He'd fill up people's cars. And of course they thought, oh yeah, April Fool. But then word got around, this is legit. So all these people started coming, and it ended up that the line was still there at 11. He just said, come on down. They kept coming, and they figured the average person got about $75 worth of gas in their vehicle. This was before we had the change in price on Friday. But that man allowed himself to go out there and do something a little bit different, and he helped so many others. But I bet you there's a lot of good advertising in what he did as well. Maybe there's people that really couldn't afford gas, and they were able to finally fill it up. You know, there's a lot of people working darn hard, and the money they're getting is really almost not meeting their expenses of day-to-day living. So if anyone here is saying to themselves, well, I have nothing to share that would help others, or I have no talents to share, I don't believe you. You might want to believe that. I don't believe it. How can that be true with an energy that created the whole universe, the sun, the stars, the animals, the humans? How could that stop creating? It can't. It's the very nature of the divine to keep creating, to keep changing. So yes, we all have something to share, and nothing is too small to share. Every thought sets a fulfillment of its desire in motion in mind. Mind sees the thing and has already done. So that's, mind is a creative energy force. That's one thing that Dr. Holmes did. He used language that isn't quite the same language we use now. And it can sound a little complicated, but really it's just talking about the divine God, universal mind, essence, whatever word you have for it. It's that there's always a hope, there's always a future, there's always life continuing to go on. You see, thoughts are things, and things are always creative, and you deserve the best in life. All that we want will be given to us. Seek and we shall find, knock and it shall be open. That's Matthew 7 and 8 paraphrased. We just have to knock. We have to ask. And then comes number 2. Well, you believe, so if you believe, you look around. You have to look around. You can ask for all kinds of things, but if you don't look for it, you might end up tripping over it and miss the whole thing. You have to expect, look. So you think there's blockages. Well, the Bible says, judge not according to appearances. So what this is interpreted as is don't be confused with whatever is going on in your life. Maybe you're out of a job. Maybe there's a situation you don't know what to do about it. Well, you can always pray, do spiritual mind treatment. And as you do this, as you reach out to a higher power, expect a result. And know that no matter what thought you're thinking, whether it's positive or negative, the creative energy is going to act on it. So if I'm thinking negative, poor me thoughts, I'm having a negative, poor me life. If I think, well, you know, there's hope here, and I can do it because I know that there is the divine mind in, as, back, and through everything. And so maybe I don't have to do it by myself. Maybe I will receive guidance along the way. And you open your eyes, your ears, your mind, and lo and behold, little things happen. Maybe somebody will help us with this. The car dealership guy, how many people did he help put gas in their car that hopefully lasted through the week? These are the little things that if we don't pay attention, because each of us deserve a good life. And I can't believe anybody was born to have a bad life. I believe we were all born with the possibility of a good life. So creativity and flexibility is what we need to survive. We went and saw my son and his family, And I don't know if you remember, 2 or 3 years ago, and I would talk about, we were looking after the boys, and they were into Fortnite. So I'd sit down with them, and they'd be this game, this guy's doing this, that. So I learned the lingo, and the skins mean you have a new character shape, and you're this and you're that. And for me, it was important so I could talk one-on-one and know what my grandchildren are doing. And if they do anything online, it's good you watch anyways, because you're not quite sure who the person is on the other end. Well, it may seem silly to people. And as we get older, you think, well, why are they wasting all their time doing that? Well, the one that was so into the gaming when he was 8, 9 years old, he now records his own show. He's a producer, and he's 14 now. Now, I'm sure there's lots of other fellows do it, but he saved his money, went out and bought the tripod. He has the big light. He hooks his cell phone to it, and he films himself playing the games, and then he produces it where you cut the pieces out and splice it all together, and then you make a presentation. And he has followers all over on YouTube. Now, that might still seem funny. Well, there are adults who are making an incredible living. This is an occupation for a lot of people now, is the gaming industry. So imagine me going, poo-poo, that's silly, and other people, poo-poo, don't do that. Here is a whole occupation that this child may have because people believed in him creating that way. Maybe he'll be a producer for a TV show. I have no idea what he's going to do, but this gives him background and knowledge. And then the other fellow, I don't know if you remember me telling him about watching rock and roll with him on we would watch Guns N' Roses and different things, and he's like this big, and he has this little plastic guitar that had batteries, and he'd be in there just singing and going and rocking away, and I'd tape him, and I'd say, see, look what you're doing, look what you're doing. Well, my son said, do you want to go see him go play the licks on his guitar? I said, okay. So I go, here he is. He has his electric guitar. He's 12 years old. He is teaching himself guitar from YouTube, and he sounds pretty darn good, like some of these hard rock guys, but it's the creativity. Now, where is that going to take him? Maybe he'll own a music store one day. I don't know. But what is it we can do? We are always expanding. We need to go out on limbs and try something different. And I know that my experience is whenever I've tried something different, there's all these wonderful helpers. And the helpers are going to be giving us unsolicited advice. Why would you ever try and do that? Where do you think the money's going to come from? You're too old to do that. Nobody's going to listen to that. I don't know what makes you think you're so important you can do that. And I'm talking about people out there, but I'm also talking about a person that lives inside this body, and I call it my monkey brain. So every once in a while, I have to go sit down and talk to myself and give myself a good talking to and say, smarten up, Tress. You know better than that. You know that you can do it. And if you can't do it, you're not dead yet, so try again tomorrow, something different. But what do I do to help with the monkey mind? Daily spiritual practices. You can develop them just like the normal habit. You get up, you brush your teeth in the morning. You can get up in the morning and say, Thank you, God, divine mind, whatever you refer to, for today. Thank you, I have the opportunity to live today. Please show me what direction I am to go, for I know all my needs are met in all that I do, for I am here to live a divine life. I would think that probably 20-second spiel that I just gave is worth it in each of our lives to at least devote 20 seconds of connecting with a higher power every morning. I mean, you brush your teeth, it's normal. You eat your meals, it's normal. How about connecting with the divine? You're not going to get electricity unless you plug it in. So to get connected with the divine, plug into the divine. Early morning meditation, I do that. Quiet time, I do that. And I connect with a higher power. And the thing is, you can do your connecting to the higher power almost anywhere. Most people do not know that you are meditating. Most people do not know that you are praying, whatever it is you're doing. But also now, there is unlimited resources. If you have a cell phone, you can connect and have spiritual books on your cell phone. You can listen to a podcast. You can watch something on YouTube at any time, at any day. Edward Vilhoon, the leader of CSL, has a 7 a.m. our time meditation, and he takes his meditations from going through this book, and he would have done it from today's reading. No, I missed it because I was still changing my talk, but I can go back and listen. There's people from all across the world connect with that at the same time every day. Or you can go on it later on in the day. It's a connection, and it's maybe 15 minutes of your morning, or whatever time of day you connect. And it's a togetherness of mind of people of the world. And that's also when I was talking about the gaming and the jobs and everything. That is a whole other world where people across the world are connecting and communicating with one another through the game playing. I could never do it, but that doesn't mean that what they're doing is not as beautiful as whatever I can do. See, we're one of the vehicles through which God Divine Mind creates. God Divine Mind is everywhere present in all things. You, me, the plants, the beautiful birds that are coming, the pairs of coyotes you might see out there, the cranes. I've seen all of these in the last month. Deer, all in red deer. They're there. Now, my dad, part of what he did, he took pictures. He was a photographer. As part of what he did, it was a hobby, but he also used it to make a bit extra money. So we had a dark room in the basement. So he would teach us how to take pictures, how to develop them. And he has a picture of me, and it's a black and white, and I was maybe a year and a half old, and I was at my aunt's farm, and she had chickens. Of course, the parents and everybody, don't go near the chickens. Well, that means you got to go to the chickens, figure out what they're all about, because if you're not supposed to be there, that means there's something darn good there, and you better do it quick before anybody sees you. And so my dad has a picture of me, and like these were mean chickens. And it's me, no kidding. Here's me, and I'm like little kid with those little kid baby shoes and little kid bonnet with this chicken, and I'm just talking to that chicken, and that chicken's just looking up. That chicken never pecked me. It did nothing. because it felt the love and wonder I had. Because to me, it was just the most glorious thing. It was alive. It was my size. I could pick it up. Well, life doesn't get much better than that when you're little. And I was getting away with something I wasn't supposed to do. And also, even though it was a little girl brain, I'm sure that little girl brain was thinking, "No, no, no, Mom and Dad, look at me, I made it and didn't get in trouble." But the animals are connected through the one mind. Because I remember as well, about 8 years old, and we'd go on holidays, and it was Lac La Ronge, Saskatchewan. It was a campsite, and it was up in a northern area, and they had sort of a hybrid dogs there, but they were in packs. And I think they were maybe Coyote dog mixed or wolf dog mixed, I'm not sure. And they'd kind of go around the campsites. "Oh, don't go near those dogs. Don't go near those." Well, of course, there you go. You got to go near the dogs. So I'd feed them bread. The dogs loved me. Well, they loved the bread. I don't know if they loved me, but it was a trust, a sacred trust, a communication, an acknowledging the God divine essence in all things. Everywhere I look, I see the face of God. And right now I see the face of God looking back at me and the face of God looking back. I can't see who's ever there, but that does not mean that you are not part of what we're talking about. We are all divine creations. So I know for you, and I know for me, that God, divine mind, creates through me now and always. I am creative, unique, and wonderful. So know for you that you are beautiful. Know for you that you are loved by the divine mind. Know for you that you are here to change the world by being the beautiful, creative you are, because each of you make a difference in the world. And so it is. Oh, I gotta get organized now. There we go. And thank you, everyone. Oh, yes, did you undo the closing, Reverend Judy? Because Reverend Judy does a beautiful meditation at the end of her closings.
All right. And to begin with, we do the prosperity portion of our program. So take up the sheet out of your program and let's read that prosperity affirmation together. And it looks like that. It's a new one for April. All good is mine today. This is my belief, and in it I stand firm. I am healthy, prosperous, loving, and wise. The spirit is willing, and I am willing. I breathe deeply, give freely, and receive greatly. My life itself is a gift for which I am truly thankful, and so it is. And so if you have a donation today in support of our center, just put it in the envelope. Again, you'll find it in your program, and just bring it up and drop it in the basket. And if any of you at home choose to contribute to us, that would be wonderful too. Thank you. And with that, let's remember the course that Gord and Lou are teaching, and there's Gord back there, and Gord and Lou are both practitioner interns, which means they're really good at doing spiritual mind treatment, or what we call affirmative prayer. And that means that if you've got something you're working on and you're having trouble resolving it, talk to one of them and let them introduce you to what they've been studying for 4 years, which is really seeing into you that there is nothing to be healed, only perfection to be revealed. Right, Gordon? Yes. And so that is too. All right, and let's read our closing affirmation now. Rejoicing, I go on my way. choosing thoughts and words of kindness and encouragement. I praise generously and love deeply, even as I am loved. Life is wonderful. I am wonderful. And God is the wonder of it all. And so it is. And now please join me in a closing affirmative prayer. Just take that deep breath and let go of everything else in your world at the moment and know that God is a real presence, a real wisdom, a real strength, a real power, active in each one of us, acting through us. As we come into harmony with the principles of life, it responds to us. And we choose to remember that thoughts are not only things, but the cause of things. And so as we make the choice to change our thinking into the ways of prosperity, health, and joy, and loving relationships, then that is what we draw to us. I give loving thanks, knowing that God is good. I am good. Each one of us is good, because all truly is God, and so it is.